Hey guys, Eric here in the school garden. Once again, welcome back to our channel. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Eric, one of the education specialists for Easton Banks Learning and Life Center, and we are in the beautiful school garden. If you are already a part of our channel, thanks for coming back for another video. As you already see in today's video, video title, we are doing a garden tour. We're going to be showing you all of the updates that have happened so far in the garden, all of the new plants that are growing. So make sure to subscribe, like, and comment, share this video. Don't forget to click the notification bell in the right or left corner of your screen to be notified when we drop new videos, which is every single week. Okay, so I've already watered the garden, which is perfect because now the sun is starting to come out. And as you already see, the sweat, it's getting hotter. So I'm glad I just got done with watering and I don't have to worry about that. These past few days, it has rained in the garden. Like today is Sunday, so Saturday, Friday, Thursday, it rained like pouring rain. And I didn't have to water the garden because nature did it for me. So that was perfect. And we already had mulch down on most of the garden, so that it was perfect. A lot of the water has still been captured by the mulch. So if you haven't mulched your garden yet, get to it, because as we move closer to July and get to the peak of the garden, it's going to get super muggy and sticky and hot, and your plants are going to feel it as well. And so you really want to put down a good layer of mulch. The orchard, whatever, which way you want to say it. The apples and pears have been doing really good. The only thing I've noticed is that they are leaning a lot, and I'm just hoping that they don't snap. I'm really hoping that they don't snap. But the kaolin clay is doing really good on them, and it seems to be doing its job of preventing pests from poking into the fruit. And we're just trying to keep them all alive until it's time to harvest. I know on this apple tree back here, one of the fruits have already fallen off of the limbs. I'm guessing because one, it rained, it was a heavy rain, and it was closer to the ground, so it just popped off, and that's fine. But I'm just hoping that all the other fruits on the trees just stay and are able to stay on the tree until we pick them ourselves. We are going to get some netting to put over the trees, not right now, but fairly soon, because once we start the process of harvesting, the squirrels and birds, they'll know that the fruit is ready before we do, since they're always in the garden. We're not always in the garden, so we have to get the netting, because if we don't, then we'll just be feeding the birds and the squirrels and any other animals that make their way past the garden. So we're gonna do that. We've been doing our best to keep our grapes watered and giving them enough water to continue to feed the grapes that are growing. The grapes look okay. You can see a little bit of the damage that has been done because of the inadequate watering. So I believe the grapes need at least 1 to 2 gallons a week, and maybe more. So before I leave, I'm going to water these grapes again. And you see the grapes have dried in certain spots because they weren't getting enough water. See, like right there, that happened because they weren't getting enough water. But most of the grapes look okay, so we'll still be able to get a decent harvest later this year. We have 2 different container gardens going on right now in the garden. This is the first set, and we have a mixture of eggplants, peppers, and basil, and they are, as you see, they are doing so good. This is the first time in a long time where we've had eggplants that are doing very well, and we're gonna get a harvest very, very soon, and I can't wait. The peppers are putting on their buds for flowers, which will inevitably end up as fruit. But I need to spray all the plants over here with the kaolin clay, because I did that before and it prevented all the little chew marks that you see. So I want to be able to prevent any further eating of our plants. But they look really good, they look healthy, and they're growing very, very well. Now the area where the eggplants aren't doing so well are these eggplants were put in before those were, and I just don't think that this area has enough of loose but organic material in it. Like, different spots have good areas and other spots don't. I don't think this area back here has good organic material, but as we move this way, you could tell this area does, because of the growth of the plants, but also the green, the color. Everything's a deeper green, it's more lush. But as we move this way, everything seems to be pale, it's small. So I don't know, we're just gonna see what happens as the weeks go on. I know I haven't given up, but we can't do anything about it right now. I know come August we'll add more compost and blood meal and all of the additives that plants need to also raise the soil level, but just give a lot of nutrition for the plants and the soil altogether. But we got tomatillos finally. These are tomatoes right here, but these tomatillos here, the tomatillos back there, there was another tomatillo somewhere. I think there's a tomatillo back there. These are all volunteer tomatillos. We grew tomatillos in this area about 2 years ago, and they finally popped back up. They decided to grow, and that's really cool. We have some volunteer beans back there as well. We grew beans over here last year, so it's really cool to have volunteer plants growing, and I can't wait to have tomatillos, because we've tried to grow our own tomatillos, but the seeds are just too old and they haven't germinated, so that's perfect. And we have peppers, basil, beans, and our celeriac is still growing. We won't harvest the celeriac until this fall. That's when you harvest it. And we have some cucumbers that need harvesting back there. Beautiful Cosmo. I've been popping off these. So we have the beans. The beans have been doing really, really good. I'm gonna do some more harvesting of these beans. They have been putting out fewer and fewer amounts of beans, so their time to be pulled is coming very, very soon. Probably in the next week or so, I'll remove these beans and put some cantaloupe or pumpkin over here, because I have some growing in the greenhouse, and so we can transplant that and it'll be the squash and melons over on the trellis. But we do have some beans down here. This is another crop of beans that will be getting larger very, very soon. Next to them we have chamomile, which I need to do a quick harvest of. You know, some cilantro down there, as well as some new cantaloupe seeds that have germinated. Everybody say happy birthday. Awesome. We have morning glory keep popping up. I'm so sick of this morning glory. It's literally everywhere. Everywhere. We also have okra over here. I put some okra seeds in. Not all of them have germinated just yet, but they are germinating. Just have to be patient. But we'll have okra growing soon. Well, being harvested soon. I think I also want to put some zucchini over here. I have zucchini in the greenhouse that can be transplanted today. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and clean up this area, put this kale in the greenhouse so I can save the seed, and just remove everything else and put the zucchini in its place. And we have cucumbers over here. There are a few cucumbers that need to be harvested, about 7 of them. So I'm gonna come and harvest them. But this has been a very, very good year for cucumbers, and I'm really happy about it. Sweet potatoes are doing really good. Oh, I didn't notice this. This is one of the vines that has, dang. Okay. I need to keep it in here. This bed does need some more soil. As you can see, the level was up here. Now it's shrunk to all right there. So once we are done harvesting sweet potatoes, we'll go ahead and add more compost to this bed. But it's doing pretty good so far. I only watered it a little bit, but you really don't have to water a hugelkultur bed that often because of the way it's created. Ooh, and I see one of the pests that we've had to deal with so far in the garden, and that is, I think this is a cutworm or army worm, but we can't have that, so I'm gonna have to sorry guy, I'm so sorry, but it had to be done. So that is the 3rd time I've seen that caterpillar in the garden. The other time has been when I've been over here in the tomato area. Now I want you guys to answer this for me. Is this the mother of the hornworms? Because if so, I'm gonna have to start looking at the tomatoes to make sure there are no hornworms. I know at the community garden we've already dealt with hornworms, or well, not dealt, but we are dealing currently with them, and so I've been able to keep my eye on those and keep them at bay. But we haven't really dealt with tomato hornworms yet here at the school garden, but it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. But everything looks good so far. I do need to get up in here and clean up. I do want to put some cantaloupes back there in that empty spot. I do also want to clear up some of this here because I have more squash in the greenhouse that can come out and be transplanted, as well as removing these squash here because they aren't doing anything and that's just wasted space. So I'm going to remove these 2 squash here, and then 2 or all 3 of them here. I may just remove all 3. We'll see in the next few hours. So this row has cantaloupe, watermelons, tomatoes, and some herbs, and 1 lovely eggplant in it. These have done so much better now that we have leaves on them. I'm going to add more leaves once I'm done with this video. As well as to this row, we have okra over here. This okra was transplanted weeks ago, and I'm not even going to try to do any more transplanting of okra. We're just going to directly seed the okra from now on because it doesn't do well. At least these did not do well. But we have pumpkins popping up, and they look so healthy. So we're gonna add more leaves to this row as well. And then we have tomatoes in the back, which have already started fruiting, as you can see. And then this row has more squash, watermelons in it. We're gonna add more leaves to this row as well. My goal for this year is to harvest as much melons, squash, cucumbers as we can, to not only exceed what our expectations are of the garden, but just to see like how well and how much we can push ourselves and push the garden to produce. Like, we have all this gardening space, why not utilize it to the max? So that's what we're doing. And then back here, I need to water this row. Even though it's weeds everywhere, I need to water it just to make sure that this row has enough water, because I do want to actually put ginger in this row. Hey, Mr. B. I want to put ginger in this row this week coming up, and I'll be going on vacation in a few weeks, like 2 weeks. So I want to be able to make sure that everything has mulch, everything is in the ground that I want to be in the ground before I leave for a few days. And we're gonna put maybe some other squash back here. It'll be the last round of squash that we have growing in the greenhouse. Put it in the back and have ginger towards the front. Over here we have okra growing. We seeded some okra and it's doing lovely. So this okra we'll be harvesting from before the other okra that I showed you guys just a few minutes ago. And then we have corn. The corn, this year was just not a good year for corn. One, the corn that we saved seed from over here, I think I showed you in a previous video. I thought it was gonna do good. It has not done good. It's been this size for weeks. So I'm just going to pull it and we're gonna replace it with some other crop that we have growing in the greenhouse. Maybe some tomatoes. I thought it was gonna do so well over there and it has not. And then we planted this corn over here, and this compost came from DeKalb County, and it was that black compost that had a high pH. I thought this was new seed that we got, and I thought these new seeds were going to do well, and it didn't. I should have put these corn over in that row because that had all that good compost that we made ourselves. And I should have put those seeds that we saved in this row. So the school garden doesn't have a good record of corn this year, and that is sad. But you learn with, like anything in life, you learn as you go. And so that is just another lesson for us to know that we stopped using that compost as the one with high pH as something to plant into. We now use it specifically for top dressing and as a mulch. And so you just gotta learn as you go with gardening. Everything is literally a lesson. Like, nothing is going to be perfect in a garden. You'll have some wins here and there, but for the most part, you're just learning, and you're continuously learning so that once you try again, you actually succeed. I've been popping off the I've been deadheading the cosmos just to keep the plant growing, because if you didn't know, plants don't grow fruit, or they don't grow the crops that we want for us. They grow it to create another generation. So if you let your cucumbers, tomatoes, zucchini get big and produce seed, and you don't harvest, and you don't keep continuing that harvest, the plants will then think, oh, okay, we're done. We're good. We've created the next generation. We can go ahead and die. But if you harvest continuously, if you keep deadheading your flowers, they will continue to produce as long as the environment allows it to be. So we're gonna keep making sure that we're deadheading these cosmos and zinnias throughout the garden. And also another way to deadhead is creating flower bouquets. So I have been creating bouquets as well as harvesting. And when I deliver the produce, I also deliver a bouquet of flowers. And the bouquets, as you see on the screen, are so beautiful. The bright pinks, yellows, orange. And we have our pollinator garden. We have the beans, the flowers, watermelons over here, and they are all doing very well. This area didn't do well in the beginning, but as we added the leaves and continued to water, everything is doing really good. We have our butterfly bush. We haven't had that many butterflies in the garden. Like, we have 2, 3 here and there, but not that many. And then we have our strawberries. They have started to create new sets everywhere, and it's good. So in the next year, like next year around the same time, we'll actually be having strawberries everywhere over here, and we'll actually be able to harvest some strawberries. Area I just showed you, I didn't think the cucumbers were going to do well. We have scarlet runner beans over there too, and they haven't produced anything just yet, but I'm sure in the next few weeks we'll be harvesting some runner beans, which is pretty cool. Now we're gonna go over to the 6 rows that we have. Now these 6 rows have not done much. With these 6 rows, I've been doing my best to keep them alive. Not the rows, but the plants in the rows. We've added leaf mulch, and that has done wonders for the retaining of water in the rows. And I do need to add more, but let's look at the growth that has already taken place. That's the video, guys. Now why are you so loud, girl? Well, that's the video, guys. We hope you enjoyed today's video. We hope you learned something. Yeah, the garden is doing pretty good. We're harvesting here and there. We're removing plants and putting new plants in their place to keep that harvest going. And I just love the garden. Looking at all the bees, buzzing, dragonflies, the little frogs that we have in the garden. It's all really cool to see. Thank you guys so much for joining us in today's video. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting us. Do not forget to click the link in the description box to check out our merch storefront, which helps support our programming. You can buy t-shirts, mugs, jackets, bags, all the things. You can check that out by clicking the link in the description box. Make sure to follow us on our socials. We can be found on Facebook and Instagram at we can be found on Facebook and Instagram at EBLLCINC and on TikTok at Project G.R.A.P.E. Until next time, we will see you all later in the garden. Bye.